In a world of gilded promises and polished lies, betrayal cuts deepest where love once thrived. This is the story of Clara Hayes, a woman scorned, who turned her pain into a blade to shatter a dynasty's facade. Welcome to a tale where weddings mask deceit, and vengeance unveils the truth. The church bells tolled like thunder, shaking the morning air with false joy. White roses lined the aisle, sunlight streamed through stained glass, and pews brimmed with guests in silk and diamonds. The Lancaster wedding was a spectacle, uniting Emily Lancaster, their only daughter, with Andrew Price, heir to the Price shipping empire. To the world, it was a golden union. To me, Clara Hayes, it was a battlefield. Once, Emily was my sister in all but blood, sharing secrets under starlit skies, promising to shield each other from our family's cages. But 2 years ago, when my father's construction company crumbled after a sabotage deal, I begged her for help, a loan, a lifeline. She swore she'd speak to her family, then vanished. Later, I learned the truth. Andrew Price orchestrated the collapse, bribing officials, rigging contracts, swallowing Hayes Construction's ashes into his empire. Emily knew, or should have, yet stood by him. My father died broken, my mother fell ill, and I scraped by, while Emily planned her perfect day. I vowed they'd pay, her betrayal, his greed. I stood at the church's rear, unnoticed in black, a forgotten guest among the elite. My eyes fixed on Emily, radiant in lace, her veil trembling with each breath. My purse held a flash drive, leaked emails, contracts, Andrew's signatures tying him to my father's ruin, and more, proof he didn't love Emily. He sought her fortune, her family's legacy, while promising a Paris mistress a future with Lancaster wealth. Today, her world would shatter as mine had. The priest began. Dearly beloved. The ceremony unfolded, guests dabbing eyes, phones discreetly recording, basking in the union of dynasties. My focus was the flash drive, its truths ready to burn. Emily's vows trembled, her smile brave. I, Emily, take you, Andrew. A memory stung. 2 girls under stars, swearing loyalty. Andrew's vows were smooth, lies cloaked in charm. The priest raised his hands. If anyone has just cause. I do, I said, my voice slicing the silence. Heads whipped around, gasps spreading. Emily turned, eyes wide. Clara. I stepped forward, heels striking marble, deliberate. Andrew's jaw tightened, his mask slipping. I can't let this go on, I said, my heart pounding but my voice steady. Andrew Price is a lie. Whispers surged. Emily shook, torn between shock and rage. Clara, this is madness. It's truth, I said, raising the flash drive. I faced the crowd. He destroyed my family, sabotaged Hayes Construction, left my father dead and my mother broken. All for greed. And Emily, I softened, turning to her. He's betrayed you. No love, just your family's money. He's promised another woman your future. The church erupted. Andrew lunged forward, fury in his eyes. Slander. Proof, I countered, holding the drive higher. Emails, contracts, his signature on every betrayal. Emily's bouquet fell, her breath catching. Clara, she whispered. Don't trust him, I said, my voice breaking. Not like I did. Guests shouted, phones flashed, the priest faltered. Andrew advanced, snarling. You'll pay. Emily stepped between us, her voice a whisper, sharp as steel. Is it true? Andrew froze. Her eyes, tear-filled but unyielding, demanded. Tell me. His silence screamed guilt. Emily's veil slipped, falling like ash. Her hands shook, but her voice hardened. Stop the ceremony. The priest stammered. Emily. Stop it, she cried, voice shattering. No wedding. Gasps filled the air, guests rising in shock. Andrew's face reddened, his threat weak. You'll regret this. Emily turned to me, pale, trembling. Show me everything. I nodded, knowing this was only the beginning. Ending the wedding was a spark. Dismantling Andrew's empire would be my fire. The church dissolved into chaos, guests spilling into the courtyard, their whispers a wildfire of scandal. In minutes, the Lancaster Price wedding was headline news, phones buzzing with clips of the ruined vows. Inside, the sanctuary lay bare, roses wilting, the priest slumped in a pew, musicians packing violins in stunned silence. Emily Lancaster sat crumpled on the front pew, her gown a shroud, her veil trampled on the marble floor. I, Clara Hayes, sat beside her, the flash drive heavy in my hand, my pulse still racing from shattering the ceremony. Emily stared ahead, eyes glassy. "How long have you known?" she whispered. "Months," I said quietly. "Since I dug into my father's files, chasing who ruined him. When I saw Andrew's name, and yours, I couldn't let you marry him." Her throat caught, stifling a sob. "You waited until today?" The accusation stung. "I needed proof no one could deny," I said. "In private, would you have believed me, or seen me as bitter?" She flinched, twisting her gown. "I don't know," she admitted, voice breaking. Silence fell, heavy as grief. Footsteps shattered it. Andrew stormed down the aisle, face twisted with rage, his mother, Margaret Price, trailing, her diamond necklace glinting like a blade. "You've humiliated me," Andrew snarled, pointing at me. "Think your fake files will ruin me?" I stood, meeting his glare. "They're real. Every signature, every lie, yours." Margaret's voice cut in, icy. "Emily, don't fall for this drama from a bankrupt girl with a grudge." Emily's head snapped up. "Don't speak of her father," she spat, her voice raw, fierce. Margaret faltered. Andrew sneered. "You've embarrassed yourself, Clara, not me." "Not just you," I said calmly. "I sent the files to half the guest list before I walked in. Journalists, investors, maybe prosecutors have them now. Your empire's crumbling." Emily's eyes widened, shocked. Andrew lunged, grabbing my wrist. "You!" Emily surged up, shoving him back, her gown dragging. "Don't touch her," she roared. Andrew staggered, Margaret hissing his name. Emily's chest heaved, eyes blazing. "It's over, Andrew. No wedding. No lies. Leave." He spat, fury fading to desperation, then stormed out with Margaret. The oak doors slammed, leaving Emily and me alone. That night, the Lancaster estate was silent, its ballroom abandoned, champagne untouched. Emily sat at her father's oak table in a silk robe, hair loose, whiskey glass trembling in her hand. "Show me," she whispered. I plugged the flash drive into her laptop, files spilling across the screen. Contracts, Andrew's signatures, emails to his Paris mistress, mocking notes to corrupt officials. Emily's hands covered her mouth, her face crumpling. "How was I so blind?" "You trusted him," I said softly. "Like my father did. That's his weapon." She buried her face, shaking. I almost reached for her, but memories of my father's lifeless eyes, my mother's hospital bed, stopped me. Emily looked up, tears streaking, but her eyes burned with resolve. "You said this was the beginning. What's next?" I leaned forward. "Andrew's wounded, but he'll fight back, spin lies, hire lawyers. To destroy him, we go deeper, his empire, the Prices, their allies." Her lips tightened, nodding. "I'll help. He used me, and my family sold me to him for profit. I want them to hurt." Her gaze met mine, no longer strangers but allies, bound by betrayal. Weeks blurred in the Lancaster library, documents and laptops sprawled across mahogany. Emily shared Price secrets, rumors, connections, names of bankers and politicians. I tracked whistleblowers, silenced accountants, ex-employees with grudges. Andrew's corruption wove through it all, but Margaret Price was the mastermind, and Emily's father, James Lancaster, knew, aware of Andrew's fraud, his affairs, yet silent for the merger's wealth. When Emily read her father's complicit emails, she didn't cry. She poured whiskey, stared into the fire, and said, "They'll all burn." Rumors spread, articles hinted at scandal, but Andrew's PR team buried them, his glossy smiles in magazines denying all. Yet cracks formed, a banker withdrew, a partner cut ties, the empire teetering. "It's not enough," Emily muttered one night, eyes shadowed with exhaustion. "We need something undeniable, public, where he feels safe." I tapped the flash drive. "A gala, an investor meeting, somewhere he's untouchable, until we strike." She smiled thinly. "Then we wait for the perfect stage." The Prices announced a charity gala at their downtown hotel, a gilded display to salvage Andrew's image. Every elite name would attend. Emily closed her laptop. "That's where we end him." The gala night glittered, the Price Hotel's glass walls reflecting champagne glow. Inside, chandeliers sparkled, waiters glided, and cameras flashed. Andrew stood central, pristine in his suit, Margaret's eyes scanning for threats. They didn't see me, blending into the crowd. They didn't see Emily, a shadow in black, her gaze locked on Andrew. He took the microphone, voice smooth. "Thank you for joining us." Emily and I exchanged a glance. His lies wouldn't last the night. The microphone would carry his ruin. The Price Hotel's ballroom glittered with old money opulence, crystal chandeliers casting light on marble, gilded columns framing champagne flutes, a string quartet weaving elegance. Tension coiled in me, Clara Hayes, as I gripped the flash drive in my clutch. Tonight wasn't a leak, it was execution. Andrew Price stood at a golden lectern, his smile hiding rot, cameras flashing as he adjusted his cufflinks. Margaret Price lingered behind, her thin smile sharp. "Ladies and gentlemen," Andrew began, voice smooth, "we gather to build a future worthy of our legacies." Applause rose, investors and socialites hanging on his lies. I glanced at Emily Lancaster, her dark gown blending into the crowd's edge, her eyes locked on Andrew, coiled, ready. One shot. Andrew's speech dripped with false humility, charity, vision, family duty. The crowd sipped champagne, swallowing his deceit. I moved to the stage's side, heart pounding, snatching a flute from a waiter's tray and downing it to steady my hands. At the curtain, a laptop waited. Emily had bribed a technician to give us control. I plugged in the flash drive. The screen flickered, unnoticed as Andrew purred, "Integrity is our foundation." The word ignited my fury. The screen blazed, emails, contracts, Andrew's signatures on fraudulent deals, bank transfers, messages to his Paris mistress mocking Emily's family. Gasps erupted, phones snapping photos, whispers roaring. Andrew stammered. What is this?" Panic flashed as he spun toward the technician's booth. Margaret seized the microphone. "Lies. A hack." But her own signatures glowed, approving illicit deals, bribing judges. Emily stepped from the shadows, voice cutting. "Not lies. Yours." Heads turned, cameras swiveled. She climbed the stage, chin high. "You used my love, my family, for this," she said, pointing at the evidence. "You made me a pawn." Andrew reached for her, desperate. "Don't touch me," she spat, recoiling. The crowd roared, shock, glee, chaos. Margaret hissed to Andrew, "Control this," her words caught by the microphone, sparking laughter and outrage. Emily's voice sliced through. "You can't control truth." I stepped forward, pulling a microphone from my coat. "This isn't just one betrayal," I said, voice steady despite trembling. "The Prices destroyed lives, mine included. My father died because of their greed." The room stilled, eyes on me. Andrew snarled, "You pathetic." Emily cut him off, fierce. "She's not pathetic. She's braver than you." Reporters surged, investors stormed out, guests cheered or hid. Andrew's shouts drowned in static, microphones betraying him. Margaret dragged him toward the exit, but the crowd blocked them, cameras relentless. Emily stood tall, a statue amid the storm. I joined her, rage and grief finally unleashed. Hours later, the ballroom was wreckage. Tables overturned, glasses shattered, petals strewn like battlefield debris. Police lights flashed outside, Andrew and Margaret escorted out under camera fire, their empire bleeding. Emily sat on the stage's edge, barefoot, exhausted. I leaned against the lectern, staring at the blank screen. "It's done," she whispered. "It started," I corrected. She looked up, searching. "They'll survive this?" "They'll fight," I said. "But the cracks are there. It'll collapse." Her lips curved, bitter yet relieved. "Then maybe I can breathe." Silence settled, fragile but shared. I saw her, not as Lancaster, not as Andrew's bride, but as a woman betrayed like me. "Your family?" I asked softly. Her gaze hardened. "My father knew Andrew's lies, his affairs, and sold me for profit. If they burn with the Prices, so be it." Her vengeance mirrored mine, ours now. Headlines screamed by morning, Price empire falls, gala scandal. Fraud, infidelity unraveled. Lancaster Price merger dead. Andrew and Margaret fled through airports, hounded by reporters. Lawsuits mounted, Stocks crashed, allies vanished. Weeks later, we stood at my father's grave, autumn leaves crisp in the air. Emily was silent, her presence enough. I laid lilies on the stone, whispering, "We did it, Dad. They're finished." The wind sighed softly. Emily touched my shoulder. "What now?" I turned, grief easing. "We live. Our way, not theirs." The future wasn't a battlefield, it was freedom. Revenge wasn't the end, but a path cleared. Together, Emily and I stepped forward, not as Lancaster or Hayes, but as women who rose from betrayal, unbroken. Thus ends Blood on the Veil, a tale of two women who turned pain into power, proving that truth is a fire that spares no empire. Stay tuned for more stories where betrayal breeds vengeance, and justice rises from the ashes.